to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This One's Wife. The Narcissist Triangulates. Triangulation is a common narcissistic manipulation. The narcissist will triangulate a victim with other people, events, and objects. So, for example, in the golden period, you'll be triangulated in a favourable way. "I'm so pleased I'm with you," says the narcissist. "You're much better than my previous girlfriend." You're compared to the previous girlfriend and spoken about favourably. That is a benign triangulation. It's done to control you by way of this flattering comparison, so that you react in a way that shows that you're under control and you provide the narcissist with fuel. You might be compared with someone unfavourably, which invariably occurs when you're in the sustained devaluation. You might be triangulated with an object. For instance, "Don't you dare ever drive my car. You'll damage it if you get in it. You're not allowed to drive it." That is a malign triangulation. You could be triangulated with an event. "I'd love to come and see you. However, I've got to go and attend the opening of the orphanage for unwanted ginger children." Therefore, you're being told that you're not as important as the orphanage for unwanted ginger children, and therefore you're triangulated with an event. As with anything that the narcissist does in relation to another person, it is all about reaching destination prime aims. And triangulation is the road to get to that destination. This One's Wife regularly will engage in triangulation of Harry and other people, but especially Harry, given his status as the intimate partner primary source. He will be compared unfavourably to Trevor Engelson, to Corey Vitiello, to Prince William, for example. She will triangulate him with certain things. "No, Harry, don't do it like that. You don't know what you're doing. Leave it to me. I'm the expert at using canning clamps. I know which way to hold them up." And I thought I would share with you an example which shows triangulation between King Charles, or Prince Charles as he was, Diana, Princess of Wales, and Camilla, which gives you a flavour of triangulation by the narcissist and the impact that it can have upon the victim and the way that they respond, to understand that this is what Harry will be experiencing in a similar fashion. It's not to say that this One's Wife is engaging in an affair, although she could be, but moreover to demonstrate the way that this One's Wife will prey upon the insecurities of Harry by flirting with other men. Remember the way that she behaved in Colombia? Was it with regard to the vice president's husband? The way that she behaved in relation to Serena Williams's husband? The way that Marcus Anderson is always hanging around as that third wheel? So she will bring these people into their world and triangulate Harry with them. But I thought it would be useful to recount this instance involving Charles, Diana, and Camilla to give you a flavour of what Harry is dealing with. It's taken from the book Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morton. Diana wrote, "From day one, I always knew I would never be the next queen. No one said that to me. I just knew it. I got an astrologist in 6 years ago. Fergie introduced me to Penny Thornton. I said, 'I've got to get out. I can't bear it any longer.' And she said to me, 'One day you will be allowed out, but you will be allowed out as opposed to divorcing or something like that.' It always sat in my mind. She told me that in 1984, so I've known it for some time. I'd be dressed up to go for dinner, and he, Charles, would say, 'Oh, not that dress again,' triangulation with object, or something like that. But one of the bravest moments of my entire 10 years was when we went to this ghastly party for Camilla's sister's 40th birthday. Nobody expected me to turn up, but again, a voice inside me said, 'Go, for the hell of it.' So I psyched myself up something awful. I decided I'm not going to kiss Camilla hello anymore. I was going to shake hands with her instead. This was my big step, and I was feeling frightfully brave and bold, and basically, Diana's going to come away having done her bit. Charles needled me the whole way down to Ham Common, where the party was. "Oh, why are you coming tonight?" Triangulation with event. Needle, 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 the whole way down. Pausing there, it was evident that Prince Charles, as he then was, didn't want Diana there because, in effect, she was going to cramp his style with regard to the relationship that he was having with Camilla. Therefore, her presence would be a threat to his control. I didn't bite from his needling, but I was very, very on edge. Anyway, I walk into the house and stick my hand out to Camilla for the first time and think, phew, I got over that. There were about 40 of us there, and we all sat down, and bearing in mind they were all my husband's age, I was a total fish out of water. But I decided I'm going to try my hardest. I was going to make an impact. And then after dinner, we were all upstairs, and I was chatting away, and suddenly noticed there was no Camilla and no Charles upstairs. So this disturbed me, so I decided to make my way downstairs. I know what I'm going to confront myself with. They tried to stop me from going downstairs. "Oh, Diana, don't go down there. I'm just going to find my husband. I would like to see him." I'd been upstairs about an hour and a half, so I was entitled to go down and find him. I go downstairs, and there is a very happy little threesome going on. Camilla, Charles, and another man chatting away. So I thought, right, this is your moment. And I joined in the conversation, as if we were all best friends, and the other man said, "I think we ought to go upstairs now." So we stood up, and I said, "Camilla, I'd love to have a word with you if it's possible." And she looked really uncomfortable and put her head down. And I said to the men, "Okay, boys, I'm just going to have a quick word with Camilla, and I'll be up in a minute." And they shot upstairs like chickens with no heads, and I could feel upstairs all hell breaking loose. "What's she going to do?" I said to Camilla. "Would you like to sit down?" So we sat down, and I was utterly terrified of her. And I said, "Camilla, I would just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on." She said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Denial, first line of the twin lines of the defense of the narcissist. And I said, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that." And she said, "Oh, it's not a cloak and dagger situation." I said, "I think it is." I wasn't as strong as I'd have liked, but at least I got the conversation going. She told me, "You never let him see the children when he's up in Scotland." Upbraiding. And, of course, demonstrative of the smearing by Charles, who would complain to Camilla about Diana's behaviour as a means of gaining an indirect assertion of control over her. Furthermore, it might be argued that the issues in relation to the children are something that shouldn't be aired with Camilla Parker Bowles, as she then was. I told her, "Camilla, the children are either at Highgrove or in London." That's Charles's biggest fault. He never sees the children. But I never take them away, demonstrative of a distant father who isn't particularly interested in them. The other day, for instance, William said, "Papa, will you play with us?" "Oh, I don't know if I have time," replied Charles, demonstrating a lack of interest in his children. That's his famous quote. It always happens, so he can't gripe about that. Anyway, going back to Camilla, she said to me, "You've got everything you ever wanted. You've got all the men in the world falling in love with you, and you've got 2 beautiful children. What more could you want?" I didn't believe her, so I said, "I want my husband." Someone came down to relieve us, obviously. For God's sake, go down there, they're having a fight. But it wasn't a fight. It was calm, deathly calm. And I said to Camilla, "I'm sorry I'm in the way. I obviously am in the way, and it must be hell for both of you. But I do know what is going on. Don't treat me like an idiot." So I went upstairs and people began to disperse. In the car on the way back, my husband was over me like a bad rash, and I cried like I had never cried before. It was anger. It was 7 years pent-up anger coming out. I cried and cried and cried, and I didn't sleep that night. And the next morning when I woke up, I felt a tremendous shift. I'd done something, said what I felt. Still, the old jealousy and anger swilling around, but it wasn't so deathly as before. And I said to him at the weekend 3 days later, "Darling, I'm sure you'll want to know what I said to Camilla. There's no secret. You may ask her. I just said I loved you. There's nothing wrong in that. He said, "I don't believe it." I said, "That's what I said to her. I've got nothing to hide. I'm your wife and the mother of your children." That always makes him slightly twitch when I say mother of your children. He hates being made aware of it. And naturally, being made aware of it is a threat to his control because of the connection that exists. Here, Diana was being triangulated by Charles with Camilla, and vice versa, with regard to Camilla triangulating Charles with Diana as a consequence of the relationship that was purportedly taking place. And it demonstrates the fact that Charles didn't want her to attend because that would be a threat to control because she got in the way, and therefore triangulated Diana by going and spending time, a significant amount of time, with Camilla and another person away from Diana, who then decided to confront them. Naturally, it isn't just an innocent tete-a-tete between Charles, Camilla and the other man. It's done for the purposes of assertion of control, not only by Charles over Camilla and the other man, but also in relation to demonstrating the absence to Diana to demonstrate you don't matter. I'd rather spend time with Camilla than be seen with you. Similarly, this one's wife will operate in a similar way. When the cameras are watching, she's all full of the admiring glance towards Harry. But away from that, and when people aren't seeing as much in terms of the public view, she will be triangulating Harry with other men. She's a somatic narcissist, and therefore she believes that all men fancy her, all men want to knock her hip out, all men want to spend time with her. And because she has no boundary recognition, notice the way that she's always grabbing and pawing and touching people. She will be doing that when she's talking to men, putting her hand on their arm, putting her hand on their chest, slipping an arm around them, all part of the direct physical assertion of control, and also to cause Harry to feel jealous with regard to the attention that's being placed elsewhere, because he's in the sustained devaluation. There will be many instances and events that they will attend, and this one's wife will be flirtatious around men in order to provoke Harry. She'll be careful to ensure, by virtue of facade management, that when the cameras are upon them, she looks like the doting wife. However, when they aren't there, there'll be instances whereby her narcissism will compel her, because Harry is in the sustained devaluation, to triangulate him primarily with other men. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.